I think personally, when I had that disconnect most strongly, the thing that I struggled with most was even sort of knowing what mattered to me and why and what's important, because my feeling and my thinking are just separate ways. I need to feel to know even what do I actually desire, what do I want, what matters to me. Yeah, and so I like the way you put it, like and the explanation also of like how sometimes it's okay for the feeling brain to take over so that we are safe, and that, but that is not enough. We have to come back to safety. And then you talked about an internal sense of safety, which is one of it's the first thing that made me come to you, because I realized one of my favorite, what do I call them? I won't even call them. He's an author. I wouldn't call him my favorite author because I've not read his works, but I've listened to so many of his talks. James Baldwin. And he talks about that in the world, all safety is an illusion. That even here, where we feel very safe in this studio, an earthquake could hit, something could happen, a meteor could strike.
Sure.
So all safety is just an illusion we create in our mind. And the world is just inherently dangerous. And to accept that then means I'm constantly in fight or flight mode, or frozen. You taught me also frozen and fawning. And so I came to you because I realized I need an internal sense of safety that is rooted in me and not in the external environment. Because the external environment is never going to be 100% safe where I can say, oh, now everything is safe. I can now stop feeling fight or flight. Why do we struggle with that internal sense of safety? And how do we start to establish it?
That's very interesting. Being alive is a health hazard.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Being alive is a health hazard. Like, as you say, there's nowhere that's safe, and there's nothing that you do that you'd say that is 100% safe. And so the reason why we need to find that internal safety or locus of safety is because you can only, like this, yourself. I like doing this. You can learn to trust yourself. You can, like, this is all you have. You are all you have, and physically you're always trying to stay alive. Like, it's really hard to die. Did you know that? It's really hard to die. As in, the body really tries to stay alive. So if you work with that innate, how do I put it? That innate being, or with that innate thing of life itself, because your life is all you have. I can't bank on your life, as in I can't even bank on my partner's life, as in because he's alive he's going to keep me safe. Lies. Even if he says he's going to take a bullet for me, lies. He might die before, like, you know. And if he takes a bullet for me, then I remain open to threat. So I can only bank on this life, and if I can learn to work on this with this life that I have, now that is what it is to find that internal frame of safety. The world teaches us not to be safe. The things that happen to us, we don't just wake up and not be safe. Things happen to us. Like, life happens to us. Say, for instance, all the way from babyhood, an infant, you're there suckling, you're having the time of your life. Then this woman decides that she's going to go and make tea for herself. Now she has taken away your enjoyment for her to go and do something else. She's carrying you in her arms, and you are feeling nice and loved and warm. Then she decides, I need to go and wash dishes, and she puts you down. Like, what's wrong with her? I was feeling safe. So, like, things continually happen. Or you're trying to make a decision at 1 year old, I want to climb that chair and see what it's like to be 2 steps higher. Then they decide I'm being bad, and then they remove me. So, if, like I'm trying to say that things happen. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, and it just depends on how we interpret them. But as we go along, things, or life teaches us that, oh, this is not safe. I'm not safe to think in this way. I'm not safe to speak in a certain way. I'm not safe to talk to certain people. So life teaches, and then now make it if there are actually bad things happening, the things that we can say cause trauma to people, the things that cause pain. They teach us that life is not safe, that people are not safe, that you cannot trust anybody, that you cannot, like, people will leave you. You know, all those things, all those negative things that life teaches us. And so you have to learn to come back to self, because you are always looking to other people. Most times you're always looking to other people, for safety, for comfort, for love, for warmth, for all those nice things that we are looking for, only to come and realize that it was here all along.
Inside me.
Yes, because my life is the one that I can bank on. Like, if I can work with the life force within me, I can learn to harness the thoughts that come through my mind, the good and the bad. I can learn to harness them. I can learn to work with the trauma and the pain that has come my way, and harness myself and teach myself to be safe in my own framework.
Despite what is happening in the external environment.
Yes. Because there is, do you see, like I said, the life force, the basic, the idea of life force is that it is to preserve.
Yeah.
It is to preserve Kelvin, to stay alive. Your body will do a lot to keep you alive. And when somebody dies, it's because life force says, we can no longer stay here. Like, this body is too diseased, or there's too much pain, or so I can no longer sustain this body.
Yeah.
And that is why this life force needs to go back to wherever it came from. So if we can learn to work with that life force, and despite whatever is happening around, that's why you find there are people, even in like war-torn countries, like somebody like Viktor Frankl, the people who survived the Holocaust, there had to be some internal framework that kept them safe. Whether it was a thought system that they learned to keep, whatever it was, when they come out of it, they tell you, I decided to start telling myself that I will come out of this. I will come out of this. People who've been imprisoned for 11 years, like this one I was hearing of, the guys who are like, what do they call them? Prisoners of war.
Yeah.
Those who've survived for so many years. When you hear their stories, it's like, no, I kept telling myself that I will come out of this. I have to see my family again. It is learning to create a safety within yourself.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. We're back after a short break, and we want to dive deeper into frameworks of safety and just get to hear more about what does a framework look like that allows one to have their own internal sense of safety. Because, Sarah, in my mind, I don't know if we all have the same framework that allows us to tap into our own inner sense of safety, or is it possible for someone and their unique story to have their own framework that allows them to have their own internal sense of safety? Is it the same framework for everybody, or is it different? How does that look like?
I'd like to believe that it's different, even though human beings we don't vary so much.
Yeah.
But I think that we are different. We're all unique flavors, and also based on what life teaches you.
Yeah.
So I think two things. That one, we need help in finding the framework, or naming the framework. Of course, therapy really helps with identifying a framework.
Yeah.
And also because you need to sit with somebody who will, one, not judge you for not having a framework in the first place.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe it's anyone's fault not to think that I don't have a framework. And if you believe that it's your fault that you are where you are, I think life also teaches you that, to beat yourself up too much. So I think that we need help with finding that, identifying and naming where we are. And then I think that you'd want to work with people who like you, people who help you, who hold the mirror really to you and say that, Kevin, I think that you are, from what you tell me, from the story that I'm hearing you unpack for me, I think that you are a winner. Had you noticed that about yourself? And then you start realizing, no, I had not. I just thought it was luck. And then when I speak that to you and I'm holding that mirror to you, start realizing that, oh, so I do have strengths. And then, so if you're working with people who like you and you're getting that kind of support, then you start realizing that, okay, so this is how I operate. And then you start using that, awareness to propel you to identify that, okay, so this is how, like we were saying earlier behind the scenes, how everyone has their own flavor of madness.
Yeah.
So I can harness this my madness, and this is how it comes, this is how I can use it, and in that way you find your way of making it in life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's sort of like how sometimes we all have faith in God, or like a lot of people have faith in God, but then when you ask them what they mean by God, you get like a different definition from each one of them.
Yes.
But you find that that faith in their God gives them a sense of safety.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's sort of like the framework is the same, but it's a little different for those people. It's like, yeah, it's faith in a God, but it's also different because each of them believes in a like the idea of what a God is also very unique to them. Okay.
Very true.
Yeah. All right. So for me, there was a very long journey where I struggled with that, like finding a framework. Then we talked, and I was able to articulate even to myself what's my framework, and fundamental to it is faith and acceptance and what you call trust, self-trust. But I still doubt myself sometimes. Should I come back to therapy, or is that just part of life?
Please do.
No, Sarah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we have been fed this narrative for so long, and I think I stand to be corrected, but
Yeah.
this is, I think we are fed this narrative that we are very broken, yeah, and that we are people who need to be fixed. Like, say for instance, if I say to you, I'm a people pleaser, what are you going to think about me? Oh, this person, she'll do anything. She has no boundaries and what.
Yeah.
So we fit into these boxes of, I'm broken and I need to be fixed. There's something wrong with me. Whereas the framework of life force, we are whole. We never think about that I am whole. I am whole. It's just that I have been looking at this one thing. I have been looking at this one thing that is broken, and not focusing on other things, or ignoring, or that, like, there's so many other realities, other things that could be also true or are also true. So as much as that there's this framework that you have, or this thing that you feel that this one is not right, so enough times we just want to fix that, because we feel that this is, if I don't fix this, my whole life is like nimeisha, like my whole life is not going to work out because I have this one thing. Yet if you are to, how do I put it, if you are to bring, say, like a torch, think about like a torch. So if you are to take a torch and shine hapa kwa ground and find dog poop, okay, does the torch or the light of the torch become dog poop?
No.
It remains as light. But if you were to lift the torch higher, the light goes abroad, And then you realize that, oh, there's a spade which I can use to remove this dog poop. There are flowers over there. There's a beautiful artistic wall over there. There is this. There is, you realize that there are so many other things. Oh, there is a sunset. Oh, there is this. There are flowers somewhere,
Yeah.
And so I think that we are so fixated on fixing this one thing that we do not realize that we have so many other strengths. We have so many other things working for us that could help us to even to fix. If it's not that we are not broken.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Not that there are not painful parts, because shida ni za mwanadamu.
Yeah.
As long as we bleed, we will have things happening to us, because for so many reasons.
Yeah.
That's another train of thought. But of course there are things which are not right. But if we focus only on the thing that is not right, then we miss out on so many other things, and these other things that could help us to work with this that is not right.
I like the example of the dog poop, because when you started with that example, there was just poop under the light, and that's all I could see, because there's just poop being illuminated. So that's me just focused on my pain and all the bad things that have happened to me. But when I start to zoom out and the light spreads to other areas, and I see a spade, and so in the beginning the poop was a problem, like why is there poop here? And then when I see there's a spade over there and there's a flower over there, I could actually even just scoop the poop with the spade, go use it as manure on the flower, and what seemed like a problem becomes the manure that fuels growth on something beautiful in my vicinity. So I really like that example. And let me just tell you how I think about it, so you tell me if this makes sense from a therapist's perspective. And for me, it's sort of like, when I came to therapy, and maybe I'm struggling with frustration, disappointment, anger, sometimes anxiety, sometimes what feels like depression, or like just this heavy sadness. And I came to therapy because I was struggling with some of that stuff. And I came out of therapy and I still struggle with some of that stuff. But now I sort of look at it as it's just part of the human experience. And no amount of therapy, there's nothing that I'm going to do that is going to stop me from being human. And as long as I'm human, this is what it means to be a human being. But I'm going to feel some of this stuff. And actually, if I didn't feel it, it would mean that I was not fully in touch with my humanness. Like, how do you think about, that's how I think about it. Like, what does that sound like from a therapist's perspective?
I believe that that's a very grounded way of looking at it. Again, from the perspective of being whole or wholesomeness, coming back to self, because I think that's the journey that I'll pick it from many points. Remember the thing about the mirror?
Yeah.
When you can't notice yourself or say that this is what I'm going through, because you don't even notice when you're fragmenting, when pieces of yourself, you're losing some of those pieces of yourself. So when you are coming to therapy, you are now getting in touch with these pieces of yourself, and somebody's telling you, like somebody's holding this mirror to you and saying like, there is anger here, Kevin. There is sadness here. There is joy here, because therapy is not only all about just the bad stuff.
Sure.
There is joy here. There is, maybe you hadn't even noticed the joy. I look at it this way. May I please?
Yeah.
So you come to life. There was a bucket here or a basket here.
Yeah, you can actually use the box.
Okay, so we come to life like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have before therapy, you have stuff that are in your. Imagine this as a waste paper basket. Yeah. And then you have stuff in there. If I were to crumple up many of these tissues, it would take very few of them to fill this box. Yeah. But then when you come to therapy, this is what you do. You take, so these are your stories, the crumpled up pieces, and the waste paper basket is your life.
Yeah.
So there are so many of those stories crumpled up in there. Some of them you're ignoring, you don't even know what they were. So when you come to therapy, this is what you do. You're taking a story and you're unraveling it, and you're looking at it from all possible angles. and you're talking about it and being aware of the parts that brought you joy and the parts that brought you pain, and being aware and learning skills, and then you've neatly folded it and back into the waste paper basket. And then you take another one. You unravel it and you make sense of it, and you look at it from different perspectives, learn what you need to learn from it. Then, because it's parts of your life, we can't throw away parts of your life. Yeah, maybe you can, maybe there are things that you let go, because life is all about learning and learning and relearning. So maybe there are parts of it, like maybe the pain or being held, the power that the pain had over you, that one you will let go. Or some of the things that maybe you need to, I don't know, make peace with and make sense of. And then they go back. And then what happens is, when you're done with as many stories as you can, what happens is that your life has more space for other things. So you've made room for more joy, even for more pain, because as long as you're alive, the pain will come one way or another. Even if it's not like a monumental pain, like, I don't know, being hit by a bus or somebody, even if it's not that, even if it's just your watch being stolen or something, but it is pain. But now you have space to deal with it. You have space for things to come in, and that is why sometimes we are so overwhelmed, because our basket is so crumpled up with stuff. Now you're living in awareness of the things that you're holding. Now you have skills, like you said, that when you come out of therapy, you still struggle with some stuff. But now you have the skills. Just because you dealt with depression once doesn't mean that it will never come again. But now you have skills up your sleeve of what to do with it when it comes.
Yeah.